Righto, who we got here today?
The one and only Luke Orp.
Luke, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Tell me, man, like obviously you've been in the online space for how long?
Just over 2 months.
2 months, and you've been setting, you're about to start closing.
Yeah, close. Yeah, close.
Awesome, awesome, man. But obviously you've been doing this for 2 months. Where were you before you even got started in this?
Before I got started, man, I was, working in a trade, chippy by trade, long days, 12, 14 hours, sometimes even 15-hour days. Pretty stock standard tradie life, you know what I mean? Work, go home, eat, sleep, repeat.
Hmm. Yeah, okay. 100%. So I guess what got you into being a chippy?
I guess really just you leave school and then you don't really know what to do, so you just jump into a trade. I guess that was kind of the hole I fell in. Bounced around a few trades. I was in plumbing, I was in electrical, didn't really sit well with them, and then I got into carpentry and not really interested in anything else, so I just stuck at it for a bit.
Hmm. Okay. Didn't go to uni or didn't think about going to uni?
Definitely not going to uni.
Why not?
No, I wasn't definitely not smart enough, and I could not see myself going to school for another 7, 8 years to maybe get a job somewhere, not even promised, and being a massive debt.
Yeah, for sure. It turns a lot of like young multi boys away from uni, just like
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
whole setup. But you mentioned you bounced around a couple trades.
Yeah.
So why didn't you? Were you just sort of just finding the one
Mm.
you liked, or
Well, when I dropped out of school, I got into a pre-apprenticeship, so that was for plumbing. I thought like the schoolwork was good, but then when I got actually into the workforce, I just didn't really like it. And then I did the same with electrical, so I did another pre-app, got into it, didn't really like it, and then I ended up just finding myself in a cheapy job. I think with a mate, because it was with a mate, I was kind of a bit more comfortable in it.
yeah,
Mm.
okay. So you didn't like plumbing, didn't like electrical, ended up being in chippy. Did you like that, or was it just like you had the right people around you?
Yeah. I guess, at the start it was cool, you're working with your mates, so I guess, it would be fun. But then as time went on, you kind of like realize your position in the crew, your body's aging, 10 times a day. You feel like you're 40, but you're 20. And
Mm,
then it just got to the point where it was like, fuck, I don't think I want to do this forever.
yeah, yeah, for sure. How long did you do that for?
Like 2 years, man.
2 years.
Mm.
Okay, so a decent amount of time. So that was all apprenticeship.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And I guess like now what you're doing now, appointment setting, getting into closing, like making money online, it's a massive switch up,
Mm,
for most people,
mm,
to using your hands on like a job site or
yeah.
something like that. I
Mm.
guess what even made you want to get into this sort of stuff? Like, because you were a builder before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 100%, man. It is like a big switch up, but I mean, you talk on site with all the boys, and all you find yourself talking about is making money online, right? And it's just, I guess, a matter of just really finding out how, like finding that next step. I mean, you always talk about it, you're watching videos on how to do it, but you never actually know how to do it, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So it's really just finding that next step and figuring out how to do it that really
Yeah,
got
okay.
me into it.
Okay, for sure. So you talking about it the whole 2 years, and you're always looking to get out of it the whole time.
Yeah. One for sure, yeah.
Fuck, okay. That's like a decent amount of that's a fucking 2 years to be looking to get it out of something.
Yeah.
Fucking pretty long time. I guess what even held you back for like 2 years?
I guess just, when I was working, it was the time. Just not having the time. It was, you get up at, 4:30, you don't come home till 6, 7 o'clock. I mean, you go to the gym as well. So it's, 9, 10 o'clock now. By the time you get home, you need to go to bed. Like you don't really have any time.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Chippies, they do some pretty long hours, even if they're not in. Like I was in FIFO doing long hours, but like before I was in FIFO, it was just like normal eights and stuff. But I know
Yeah.
chippies do some pretty hectic days more than Sparkies. Most Sparkies wouldn't like to admit it, but I'm
They don't do much.
I'm happy to admit it. But okay, so like no time was like holding you back for like so long. I guess what sort of actually changed, for you to start working towards it?
I guess it was just kind of realizing that, everyone's got the same 24 hours in a day. It's just like, how do you use it? So it was more like, am I scrolling on TikTok for a little while? Am I doing things that I really shouldn't be doing? Am I like with a mate for a little bit? I guess it was more just looking to kind of use my time more wisely.
Mm,
Mm. So just not scrolling on TikTok, not seeing a mate, really just prioritizing what I do with my time.
for sure. Okay. So you'd obviously you had the goal, you wanted to make money online for a while, but you just didn't have like the priorities straight, and you were
Mm.
just like, oh,
Mm.
watching more videos, like mental masturbation, really.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, I'll start on Monday or I'll start next week. There was always, there's never a perfect time to start. You know, it's like you start now. It's either day one or one day.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't know who says that, but it's pretty famous, famous little thing to say. I think The Rock says it. Does he?
Someone says it.
Someone says it, but okay. So you made that switch. You actually started putting your time towards something that's like obviously working towards that goal. What that actually sort of look like from there?
I guess really it was just so understanding that I needed to be better with my time. So it was instead of spending that hour on TikTok, it was spending an hour, actively learning, going through, doing the work I needed to do, thus furthering my knowledge as opposed to, losing my knowledge with TikTok. Mm,
For sure. And when you say like, oh, learning knowledge, like most people that obviously are in the same, like we're in the same
mm,
situation too, don't really understand like where am I actually meant to put my time?
mm.
Where
Yeah,
am I
well,
actually, what should I actually be learning? Because there's always more YouTube videos to watch. Like
mm.
you could have just gone and watched a bunch of fucking random YouTube videos if you wanted. Like where were you actually, putting this time and actually trying to get towards the goal?
No, I guess I was just putting this time into learning sales and marketing. I found the right group, the right community that I could bounce ideas off, talk to, speak to, just people that, surround yourself with people with the same visions as you. And really, they say, talk to 5 millionaires and you surround yourself with 5 millionaires and you're going to become the sixth. So I guess it was really just thinking about where I'm at, understanding, what needs to change, and then making the effort to change it. So just surrounding yourself with people that have the same goals as you, and it drives you to, be better.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. There was a big thing for me as well, like especially being a tradie,
Mm,
like like you mentioned, everyone's talking about making money online, everyone's talking about
yeah.
crypto, all these random fucking
Mm,
things, but no one's actually doing it.
no.
So like surrounding yourself with people that are actually doing it, or people that have started is like was a massive thing for me. But I guess like you mentioned there, like you're learning sales and marketing. Like why learn sales and marketing if you're trying to learn to make money online?
Well, no, that's a fair point, I guess. Well, if you really think about it, every business to ever run uses sales and marketing. They need to market their product, but then again, they need to sell it. So I guess those two skills together can, combined really put you ahead of a lot of people because, once you learn the skills, they're never going to go away. You can do so much with them. And even looking at certain jobs, they're paying six figures a year just on you knowing those skills.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, 100%. The demand on like remote work's pretty crazy at the moment.
mm.
So I guess like learning those skills that business, like any business really needs is like what actually helped you figure it out and actually help you make a start. Because
Yeah.
I guess what would happen if you like just tried to attack the business model without
Mm.
skills?
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd fail. I mean, the first, hiccup you'd have, you'd quit, which I had, a few times in certain things because it'd be so much the business model and then like trying to sell this and trying to sell that, but you don't even know who you're selling to or like what you're really selling. So really learning the skills is like, the main step to selling anything.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. What you mentioned you tried a couple different things. What did you try before?
I tried trading and I tried drop shipping and both of them, trading given, it is a bit of a gamble, but there is a skill involved in it. And when you're going in there blind trading, you don't really know anything. You fail. And then drop shipping, you can find a product, you can make a website, but then you don't know what you're selling. You don't know who you're selling to.
Mm.
So if I then had known the skills of sales and marketing, I'd be able to have been successful with it because I'd actually have an understanding of what I'm doing, and nothing that I'd be doing would be blind. Everything would make sense.
Yeah, 100%. So like yeah, once for me, like learning the skills was a massive thing because now you've got the options of all the business models. People sort of miss that,
Yeah.
try attack,
Mm.
drop shipping, set up a store and go, oh, why don't I have any fucking sales?
Yeah, exactly. And you're just losing money at
Yeah.
the end. Like you're paying to run everything, but you don't even know how to run anything because you don't
Mm.
know the skills.
Yeah, 100%. So I guess, you've been a chippy for 2 years, you've been talking about it the whole time. Time was something that held you back for a long time, thinking, oh, I'll do it next, I'll do it next, I'll do it next. Then obviously made that switch, made that pivot, just sort of fix your priorities, not doom scrolling, not doing all that random shit.
Mm.
From there and actually focusing on the skills, what did you sort of achieve like past that?
Well, I guess, for me, learning the skills was pretty easy. I landed my first role in 35 days, so as a setter, and then I made my first commissions 3 days into that job. So really, it took me 38 days to, start getting my taste of, a bit of online money, getting my piece of the pie. And now that I think about it, I wasted so much time just thinking about it. Where could I have been now if I started 2 years ago when I was sitting there saying I'm going to start it next week, next month? That's my biggest regret is not starting sooner.
100%. 2 years is
Mm.
a massive amount of time. It's a massive. I've
Mm.
only been doing this for 8, so
Yeah. Yeah.
imagine where you would be, two like now if you started when you first
Yes.
started thinking about it, especially because you were bouncing around,
Literally,
different
yeah.
jobs.
Mm.
It's pretty crazy to think, but I guess for someone that's sort of thinking about getting into like this sort of stuff, because lots of people do, they sort of look in, peer in, and like you said, like you were missing time. That's a massive thing for a lot of people. It was a thing for me when I was in FIFO.
Mm.
I was working 12-hour days. What would be, I guess, your best advice for like someone that's like, oh, maybe I should give this a crack?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, first we've all got the same 24 hours in a day. It's just a matter of how you use yours. Are you spending your time, scrolling on TikTok and doing random shit? And I guess fuck, what was the question?
Um, was like your best bit of advice, I mean.
Yeah, right. So I guess we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's just a matter of how you use yours. Are you doom scrolling or are you doing random shit? And then it's really just going in at it. I was scared when I began. I was so scared. But once you dive into it and take that first step, because the first step is the hardest step, the path just becomes so much easier. You have a clear vision, you know what you want, you know what you want to achieve, you know how you're going to do it, and you have the people around you to, pick you up and make sure you're doing what you're doing. So yeah, it's just taking that first step is the hardest part, but it's also really it's the easiest once you do it.
100%. Awesome, man.